Thank you all so much for joining. Welcome to our Masters Open House. We are joined today by a number of our incredible programs. I know many of you are interested in some of these programs, maybe multiple of these programs. So we're really hoping to use this session to make sure that all of your questions are answered about the program, about the application. So we will go through a whole lot of information in the next hour and a half. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So you might see on the bottom of your Zoom screen a Q&A feature. Our admissions team is going to be in the back end answering questions that you might have throughout the beginning portion of this session. And then in the second half of today's meeting, we're going to be breaking out into breakout rooms for each program and for each team that's joining, just so that you have the opportunity to chat with the program or anyone you have questions for, really to get as much information as you can or as is helpful to you. And then I and the remaining admissions team will be in the main room for the rest of the session at the very end if you have any questions about the application or anything else that you might have. And lastly, for anyone who wants more information or just wants to see what other information is out there, we do have a really robust YouTube channel with different webinar series we've done with other programs, not in this session, and just generally more information about Penn Engineering as a whole. So I definitely encourage you to check out that YouTube page as well. And before I begin, I am going to pass it along to our wonderful Dean Liu, our Senior Associate Dean for Education and Global Initiatives, to welcome you to today's session.
Thank you, Abby. Welcome to our virtual open house. It's so wonderful to see all of you here today. I'm Buntao Liu, the Senior Associate Dean at Penn Engineering, and I'm thrilled to speak with you today as you consider pursuing your master's degree with us. Penn Engineering is entering one of the most exciting periods in our history. We have just launched our new Penn Engineering 2030 strategic plan, which is a bold roadmap to accelerate impact, foster innovation, and strengthen our community. It's built around the idea that engineering sits at the heart of solving humanity's greatest challenges, from sustainability and human health to AI and trustworthy technologies. If you were to come to Penn next time, you can see this vision coming to life all around us. Just steps away from where I am is the Amy Gutman Hall, which is Penn's new home for AI and data science. This is a stunning collaborative space where our students and faculty are already working on everything from machine learning and robotics to next generation computing and biomedical innovation. And nearby, down the road, we have the Vagelos Laboratory for Energy Science and Technology, which is advancing the future of clean energy. These are more than just new buildings. They reflect our deep commitment to translating ideas into real-world impact. And our goal ahead is clear for you: to prepare our master's students to lead in a rapidly changing world. For you, this means combining rigorous technical depth with opportunities to apply your knowledge in practical, interdisciplinary, and global contexts. You will find that our master's programs are designed to be flexible and forward-looking, reaching AI, data, robotics, computation, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. You might take classes across schools, work with industry partners in Philadelphia's thriving tech ecosystem, and even pursue entrepreneurship ventures through Venture Lab at Tangen Hall, which is our launchpad for student startups. Now, our students make remarkable things happen. In the past year alone, Penn Engineering master students have launched a company featured on Shark Tank. Our students have joined leading firms in AI, finance, and biotech, and some have gone on to PhD programs at top universities. A Penn Engineering master's degree opens doors, not only because of the technical foundations that we provide, but also because of the creativity, confidence, and collaborative spirit we instill. And we know that for many of you coming here to pursue your master's degree, career services is really at the top of your mind. Our career services and Office of Academic Services team work hand in hand to support you through career fairs, employer networking events, and personalized advising. And our alumni network, which is thousands strong, they remain an active and generous community, and they help to mentor and hire the next generation of Penn engineers around the world. Now, let me spend a bit of time to speak directly to our international students. You are an essential part of our community, and we very much welcome your applications. Dean Vijay Kumar, myself, and many of our faculty were once international students too. So we understand firsthand your hopes and challenges of starting and building a career in the US. And the outlook continues to be strong. Our international students routinely secure jobs at top companies across the country. They are able to be using pathways like OPT and H-1B sponsorship. And our international students are thriving, and we're very proud to support them every step of the way. So as you think about where to take the next step in your journey, I invite you to picture yourself at a place that's growing, that's ambitious, and future-focused. At Penn Engineering, you'll be surrounded by people who are inventing the future of AI, designing sustainable technologies, and bringing bold ideas to life, all within a university that values impact, creativity, and community. Thank you for considering us. I hope you join us and help shape what's next.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dean Liu. And so now I just want to quickly show you which programs are joining us here today for today's session. So all of the bolded programs on our screen are going to have breakout rooms in about 30 or so minutes. But we do have a number of other master's programs as well for anyone who's interested. I very much encourage you to, throughout, your journey in determining where you're going to apply, if you're interested in Penn Engineering, definitely check out our website. We have a lot more information on our website. We're going to go through some of that information today, but I think it can be really helpful to gain more information about the programs themselves. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why you might be interested in the University of Pennsylvania as a whole. So Dean Liu mentioned a wide array of reasons why Penn Engineering is a wonderful place to be, but a little bit of background on Penn. There are 12 graduate schools across the university, so it's a very large school with over 26,000 students enrolled. And again, most of those students are graduate students in some of those different graduate schools. So Penn Engineering is just one of those. We have 15 master's programs and 6 PhD programs. So if you are potentially interested in a PhD program, I do encourage you to check out our website, or we have a webinar series for those PhD programs as well. Across campus, just as Dean Liu mentioned, we are doing a ton of research in a wide array of areas. So across campus, we have 19 research centers and institutes where folks are researching all types of things, artificial intelligence, robotics, engineering and healthcare, just to name a few. As a Penn student, you have access to really incredible resources, both during and after graduation. So obviously we have a lot of academic resources, research centers, libraries, but we also want to make sure that you're flourishing holistically as a student. So we have different centers for affinity groups, different fitness centers, health centers, and we also have a specific Penn Engineering Career Services department. So the university has a career services office, and then Penn Engineering has a specific group of people that work with students, because obviously a lot of the roles that you'd be looking at are very nuanced and specific to the engineering field. And that is something that is accessible to you as a student enrolled, but also once you graduate and forever after you graduate. So that's a really great resource if, obviously you're getting ready to graduate and you are wanting to work on your resume or perfect your interview techniques, but it can also be extremely helpful later in life if you want to pivot your career or take the next step in your career, that this resource is available to you for a lifetime. And then, of course, one of, I think, the best things about University of Pennsylvania is that it is located in Philadelphia, which is a really great city to start your educational journey in. So Philadelphia has a lot of different nicknames and names you might recognize. It's known as the city of brotherly love, but it's also the birthplace of the nation. So it's a very, very old city, but there's always something new going on. It's the sixth largest city in the United States, so it's a very reasonable size. It's not necessarily overwhelming. And it's really rich with history, art, culture, different educational opportunities. So while Penn is located in Philadelphia, there are also at least 5 other schools located within Philadelphia as well. And that number increases as you go out into the suburbs of Philadelphia. So there are a ton of different educational opportunities for you to pursue in this city. Luckily, we have a relatively affordable cost of living, especially compared to some of the other East Coast cities nearby, specifically New York and Washington, D.C. But we're really close to those cities as well and really accessible to other cities. So we have a great train station, we have a great airport. It's very easy to get around to other cities and travel from Philadelphia. We also have accessible public transportation. So many students who come to Penn do decide to live relatively close to the campus, so walking or maybe biking distance. But there's a lot of really wonderful areas in Philadelphia I always encourage students to check out during their tenure as a student. We have an incredible park system and different outdoor spaces. So sometimes when you think of a city, you don't necessarily think of trees and green spaces, but Philadelphia actually has the largest urban park system in the world, known as Fairmount Park. So for anyone who needs a little bit of greenery in your life, there's ample space for that. So if you're interested in mountain biking, horse riding, hiking in trails and things like that, there's an opportunity for you here. And then there are a lot of great job opportunities, especially in the tech industry. In the past 10 years or so, Penn and Philadelphia, in the area right around Penn, known as University City, has really expanded the tech industry. So there's a lot of great opportunities right near campus. And I want to talk a little bit about application requirements because from the admission office, these are where we get the most questions. So I want to make sure that we are being as clear as possible, especially in some of the trickier areas where there's different policies and things like that. So everything that we do from our office is going to be virtual. So we have an online application. All communication to you from our office is going to be entirely via email. So the first step in completing your application is starting that online application. From there, there are a number of different pieces of the application that are required, such as a resume, personal statement, letters of recommendation, the application fee, transcripts, and potentially English proficiency scores, which we'll talk a little bit more about in just a moment. There's also an optional GRE score, which I'll also get into because I know we've already gotten a couple of questions about that. So there are a few areas that we get the most questions about, and rightfully so. So I just want to go through some of these a little bit deeper. For transcripts, you do have to submit all unofficial transcripts from any schools that you've attended. So if you've transferred schools, or if you have more than one degree, or if you've just attended more than one school, we are going to want to see the unofficial transcripts from all of those schools. Transcripts should include, or they must include, all the courses that you've taken, the grades that you've earned. They also must include your name and the school's name so that we can make sure that we're matching the grades to the right applicant. And if your unofficial transcript is not in English, you do have to have that transcript either evaluated by a third-party evaluation service, or you can use a translation service, but that transcript does have to come to us in English. And for anyone who has studied outside of the United States, you will need to provide a grading key that outlines your school's grading scale, especially if this varies much different than the US grading scale. And this just makes sure that we are reviewing your grades and your successes in a way that makes the most sense to our admission team. And lastly, official transcripts are only required if you are admitted and plan to matriculate. So I know that is something folks tend to worry about. You do not have to worry about that at this stage in the process. And the personal statement is definitely an area that sometimes causes some confusion. So in the application, you will see that it is required for you to answer all of these prompts listed in 2 pages or less. We don't have any specifics about the font or the font size that you use, but we do ask that you be reasonable and practical. If you can't read it, then we probably can't read it. So please be mindful of that. I also want to add that all of these prompts are listed on our website under the FAQ page. So if you are starting your application, maybe you want to get a head start on your personal statement before you actually start the application, you're more than welcome to do so. You can find all of these prompts online. And do be sure that you answer all of the prompts. We ask them all for a reason. And letters of recommendation are always tricky because they're actually the area that you have the least amount of control over as an applicant. So you do have to submit at least 2 letters of recommendation. You can submit up to 3. And we suggest that one be academic in nature, such as from a professor, and one be professional in nature, so somebody that you've worked under, worked with, maybe volunteered with. Of course, if you've been out of school for more than 5 years, you can definitely substitute your academic letter for a professional one. And our general suggestion here is to really start having conversations with these potential recommenders as early as you can. Not only does it allow for them to ask you questions they might have about the program you're applying to, your interests, your background, but it really also allows you to make sure that they're the right recommendation letter writer. So we want to make sure that they are sending you positive letters of recommendation. We do see a lot of short, maybe unenthusiastic or more general letters of recommendation, and those don't necessarily strengthen your application. Additionally, you always want to be mindful of giving your recommender plenty of time to write your letter of recommendation. So we do suggest that all of your materials come in by the deadline, which means you shouldn't be asking your recommender on the day of the deadline. You should really be starting to have these conversations as soon as now if you're planning to apply for fall of 2026. And we don't require that your letters be on professional letterhead, but when possible, it's the best practice. And we've already gotten a couple questions in the Q&A about the GRE score. So I just want to emphasize that this is not required for any programs. If you do choose to submit your GRE score, they do have to be official and sent directly from ETS. You cannot input them yourself. And our score code is 2888. That's also listed on our website. They have to be valid, which means they have to be taken within the past 5 years. And for some folks, the GRE can be a really great option if you've been out of school for a long time and maybe you want to show your quantitative ability or you want to maybe supplement some lower grades in undergrad. It can be a really great tool for that. And I know we get a lot of questions about English proficiency scores and waivers. So any applicant that's a non-US citizen and whose first language is not English is going to be prompted to submit an English proficiency score. So we accept the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the Duolingo. I've listed the suggested scores here, but we allow, any of these 3 tests. We don't have a preference. It's really up to you and what is most accessible to you as the applicant. So we accept the at-home version of these tests as well. For anyone who thinks that they might be eligible for a waiver, so that would be anyone who is going to or has graduated from a program in the US or from a school in a country with English as the official language, or if the medium of instruction at your school is in English and that is clearly indicated on the transcript, then that requirement will be waived for you. But the main thing I want you to take away is that that happens manually after you submit your application. It's not instantaneous. Our admission team is still reviewing your application to make sure that you meet this criteria. So as you are submitting your application, if you don't see that this has been waived immediately, that's because it hasn't been, and we do look at your application to process this manually. So just be patient. And then a couple of important dates and deadlines. So February 1st is the master's application deadline, which means you still do have plenty of time to be working on your application, talking to your recommenders, working on your personal statement, all of those pieces. And as I said, we do really want all materials to be submitted by February 1st in order for you to be considered for admission. All decisions are then going to be released by April 1st. I'm going to pass this along to Bailey Lackey in our Office of Academic Services to talk a little bit about what is offered to students.
Hi everyone, I'm Bailey. I am one of the graduate advisors in the Office of Academic Services. So our office is right in Town Hall on the first floor, and the primary aspect of our office is to cover kind of academic policies and procedures, more general. So we can help you with different things such as transferring programs and adding second majors or degrees. If you need to take a leave of absence, that request goes through our office. And we can also help with any questions regarding full-time and part-time status. For international students, we are kind of the first stop for CPT, OPT, and reduced course load requests. And then we're also happy to connect you with any resources outside of engineering that are available to you on campus. And then we also oversee the graduation process and ceremony details. So when you get to that point in your program, you'll be getting a lot of contact from us to get you ready to walk across the stage. So for course registration info, new students will register in the early summer. You will hear from your program and they will assist you with course selections. The one-stop shop is Path at Penn. That's where you'll do all of that. It's where you'll make different requests, but that's where you'll do all of your registration. Each program handles registration differently, so you'll want to get to know your graduate administrator, who we have some on this call today. Courses and waitlist fill up, so you want to make sure that you're registering sooner than later. As soon as it opens and you know which courses you are going to try to register for, it's best to do it as soon as you can. Some courses may require a permit to register, and your graduate administrator can also help you with that. We have a graduate handbook that's going to be a really good guide for you. It talks about different academic options. If you need to take a leave, anything you really might need to do, you can probably find it in there, including the list of graduate administrators. So all of your program contacts will be in there with their email. So if you need to reach out to somebody, you can find who you should be speaking with on there. And then these are just some resources on campus, our student center, wellness at Penn. We have a student health and counseling center, and then there's also off-campus services and the Weingarten Center. So if you have any academic accommodations, you're going to want to go through the Weingarten Center, and we're happy to help you with that process if necessary. And I think that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Bailey. I appreciate that. And now I would love it if Melinda Ingersoll could present a little bit. Melinda is joining us from our International Student and Scholar Services Office, also known as ISSS.
Yes, I represent the ISS office. I'm an advisor. It's the International Student Scholar Services. So we are here to support you regarding immigration or just integrating into American culture. We have our leadership team here, who are our director and our associate directors. The office has over 23 people dedicated to you and dedicated to supporting you. And we have a team of advisors along with specialists. When you first arrive, you will get an orientation. Also, before you arrive, we will issue you your initial I-20, so that can help you get your visa. If you're transferring from another institution, we will work with you to get your new I-20 transferred to us. And so we divide it into two main things. Our office is immigration. So we advise you on all immigration, but also integration services, which is our programming and getting you more integrated into Penn culture. And so a little bit more deeper into that. Once you arrive here, you will get a assigned advisor like myself, and we will work with you to make sure you're maintaining your status, answer any questions you may have, help you apply for CPT, and when you are finished, OPT, and then also work with you with STEM extension. And also in the meantime, if you're traveling or anything like that, we have a lot of questions about travel signatures and documents you need to travel in and out of the country, and anything basically you have regarding immigration. And then again, our intercultural services and our integration services, which provide programming and partnerships. We have a number of different student organizations that we work with, graduate and undergraduate international student organizations. And our goal for our integration services is just to provide you with support. We have also excursions. We just took students to a fashion museum the other day. We do mural tours and a number of things to get you involved in Philadelphia as a whole. So here are some of the things. Again, we talk about travel, employment, visas. We're here again just to support you in any questions. We understand that it's very high anxiety right now, and there's a lot of things that you might be concerned about regarding immigration, but we are here to provide you with the most accurate and updated information. We also have a number of resources that we provide students so that they're aware of any policy changes. And then we also do virtual drop-ins and virtual advising, so you can always contact us if you want to talk one-on-one. I also do, besides virtual, I have personal one-on-one advising appointments where it's face to face. So you can also come by our office and meet with us face to face if you would like. So we are very accessible for you, and we want to make sure that you feel confident and ease any anxiety you may have regarding your immigration process and paperwork. Again, I talked about CPT and OPT, and I don't know if you understand what these are, but CPT is for internships. So if you're doing any employment out off campus as part of an internship, you need to apply for work authorization. So we work with you on that. And then once you graduate, you do have a year where you can work, and then you can apply for a STEM extension, which is a 2 additional years. And we would work with you on that to make sure you have all the work authorization you need and support you in any way. We have what's called iPen. So once you are admitted, you will get what's called an iPen account. It's kind of like Path at Penn, but it's for our ISS office. So it's strictly our ISS portal. That's where you'll receive all the documents you need and connect with us. And you will also receive your I-20. You will upload documents onto your iPen portal. All of that will be communicated through iPen. So make sure that once you do get admitted into Penn, that you create the iPen account and you make sure you're working with us. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So again, here's some other things. Our immigration process is again through the iPen, sorry. And we will continue to work with the admissions office to give you your initial I-20 to make sure you have your visa and all the documents you need to be successful and to come here. And we also keep you updated on any updates and changes that may happen, and any policy changes that happen within the U.S. government. We are here again to inform you and support you. Okay, well, I'm going to stop sharing here. I look forward, I know we're having a breakout, so if you have any further questions, I can go more into detail during the breakout.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Melinda. Last but certainly never least is going to be Nicole Soroka. the Associate Director of Graduate and Professional Aid.
Great. Thanks so much, Abby, and welcome everybody today. So we're going to talk about how to finance all of these wonderful programs that you're hearing about today. So we'll go over the cost per course unit, how exactly you can go ahead to pay that bill. There's quite a few different options. If you are a U.S. Veteran or spouse of a veteran, and of course, we'll talk about loan and some additional financial resources that the university has to offer you. So the way that the billing structure works is you will get billed based on the amount of course units that you're enrolled in for that term. So if you're enrolled in 1 course unit per term, you can see the charge listed, 2 course units per term, 3, 4, and above. So, if you're really quick in finishing your degree, you can expect a higher bill because you're enrolled in more course units. But if you're going to spread it out, 2 course units each semester, then you can plan out your fees that way. These are the current rates for 2025, 2026. So rates are subject to increase for next year, but this will give you a really good ballpark on exactly what the cost is going to be to you to attend the program. So as Abby said, Penn does everything electronically, so you will get a bill to your Penn issued email address. Everything financial goes to your Penn issued email address. We will give you monthly bills if you were to add an additional class after the first billing statement goes out, with a new billing statement for the additional course that you added on. We do accept all major credit cards, but just note that there is a 3% convenience fee added on to whatever balance that you're paying. So if you're paying $10,000, make sure you're adding on that 3%, because it will cost you a bit more with that processing and handling fee. If for whatever reason you are not paying your payments on time, or you miss a billing statement, the university will charge you a 1.5% late payment penalty on any past due balance that you have. So it's really important that you're checking your billing statement, that you're making your payments on time, so that way you're avoiding this late payment penalty. We do have a partnership with our third-party payment office. You may refer to it as a sponsorship. So this could be a military agency in your home country that's sponsoring you. We see a lot of embassies sponsor folks in these types of programs. It could be your undergraduate program that might be sponsoring you to study in the United States. Typically, this is for folks that are making full tuition and fees payments through a third-party servicer. There's a form that you, the student, would fill out, and then there's a form that your sponsor would fill out. It's a very simple process as long as you're completing the paperwork on time and in full. Many companies, if you are currently employed or if your spouse is currently employed, offer some sort of tuition reimbursement program. Sometimes you have to be getting a degree that benefits the company to do that. So if you're already, I think I saw a couple of people say in the chat they were data analysts already. Maybe that's something that your company will be able to sponsor for a Penn Engineering degree. You won't know unless you ask. Everybody's always kind of scared to talk to their employer about money and benefits, but the worst answer that you're going to get is no, we don't have that type of program here. Usually we see folks get reimbursement after their grades come in for the semester. So just make sure you check with your company's terms and conditions. The bill is still due at the due date, so you are still responsible for paying the bill. But depending on your company, there might be a tuition reimbursement program. So just check with them to see if that's something that's available to you. For my international folks, we do have 2 payments for international banks. We have Flywire and Pay My Tuition. Either is fine. You might be familiar with one over the other. We accept both. But what we do not accept are direct payments into a university bank account. So if you're on WeChat or somewhere on the internet and you're searching Penn bank account information to pay your bill, that's a no-go. We do not accept information that way. We do not accept payments that way, and you will get a $500 fee for attempting to do that. So it's really important that you're following the university guidelines when paying with an international payment, either Flywire or Pay My Tuition, either one. Penn does offer payment plans for every single term. So over the fall and the spring term, you can choose a 4-month or 5-month payment plan. Either is up to you. There is a $50 enrollment fee to sign up for the plan each semester, but all it's doing is splitting your payments up over the months. So If you are on a 5-month plan and your balance is $5,000, you're paying $1,000 a month on your plan. In the summer, because it is a shorter term, there is a 3-month plan, so it is a bit shorter. And the payment plan is available through international bank accounts via our partner Pay My Tuition. So if you are a U.S. veteran or your spouse is a U.S. veteran or a parent is a U.S. veteran, first, thank you for their service and for your service with them. We take all forms of veterans benefits. So the most popular that we see are the GI Bill, Chapter 33, and Chapter 31. So if you are in that type of scenario, please make sure you're reaching out. I say the easiest email at Penn, veterans@upenn.edu, to make sure that you're getting your certificate of eligibility and any sort of additional documents that the veterans team would need to process your benefits. They can also help you forecast, if you're going to expire your benefits, what the cost would be to you after your benefits expire. Everybody's favorite topic, loan funding. So this is for my U.S. citizens and permanent residents or folks that might fall into an eligible non-citizenship category. So you may qualify for federal loan options, and that's going to be very specific based off the person. Okay. Most students will qualify for an unsubsidized direct loan of $20,500 for the academic year. This is not a credit check loan. You simply qualify for it by submitting the FAFSA, and we'll go over the requirements in just a moment. But this is only if you are a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, you have a green card, you have a certificate in naturalization, some asylee seekers, if that's you, might qualify for this. So make sure you're doing your research or talk to us, hopefully after you've been accepted for additional financing options. So if you do fall into that category, the 26-27 FAFSA is currently open. We do recommend waiting until you get your acceptance notification to submit the FAFSA on there. We can't do anything with it, of course, until you're accepted. Once we receive your FAFSA, you will have to complete the financial aid plan enrollment form. Everything will be available in your Path at Penn portal, which you'll hear about a lot. Hopefully once you're admitted, where all your financial information, academic information is housed. That won't be available until May. So still plenty of time to make sure that you're getting all this information in and getting the financial aid that you need to finance the program. There are 2 requirements, entrance counseling and a master promissory note after you go ahead and accept the loan in your portal for it to fully pay to your student account. If you don't qualify for the federal loans or you need additional funding beyond the federal loan options, this would be alternative loans. You might have referred to them as private loan. I'm sure everybody's seeing commercials or gets ads on different websites that you're on. We do have a historical lender list on our website, so if you are interested, you can take a look at loans that students have used in the past. Usually you don't make any sort of payments while you're enrolled in school. We do recommend just checking out a couple of different options, not just going with the first one that you see or the first one you get approved for. Make sure you're shopping around. You have plenty of time to go ahead and plan this. Make sure you're picking the financing option that's best for you. If you're an international student and you're not a U.S. citizen, you'll likely need a cosigner on these that is a U.S. citizen. If that's not an option for you and you still need some sort of financing, talk to banks in your home country. See if they have any sort of personal loans that they can lend you. What would typically happen is you do everything through them. Penn doesn't see anything. You apply with them, you get approved for them, or you get a cosigner through them, whatever the regulation is in your home country. They then give you the money, and then you then make a payment to Penn with that money. So it is a little bit of a process, but it's definitely helpful if you should need that funding to attend the program. And just lastly, Penn does have a very robust financial wellness program. So this is available to you as a student. You can meet with a peer educator if you're interested in investing and how that would look for you, or just banking in the United States. If you just need help with your budget, maybe your parents are financing your living expenses and you want to talk about, the apartment that you're living in. Is this really, feasible for you? They can all discuss that as well. And of course, you can always reach out to us at any time. Our email is graduateaid@pobox.upenn.edu. Thanks, Abby.
Thanks so much, Nicole.